Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Samira updated complete gun. I haven't played Samira in quite some time ever since, she got a round of nerfs and she's not as strong as she once was, but of course she's still a really strong champion. Before we really get into the guide, of course, don't forget to check out Samira's basic guide that I'll put up in the cards above for her skills, delivering order tips and tricks as well as a couple of combos. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the guide itself. So into the items. Basically, you guys will notice a couple of things. So firstly, we have Bloodthirster missing. So why is that? We'll get into it. So first up, we want to start with the Gluttonous Greaves. We get the AD, the Omnivamp, mostly of course, and then we go for Collector first item. Now, why are we going for Collector when I'm generally not a fan of Collector and I'd rather go for Bloodthirster? Well, honestly, after trying out a bunch of different builds, I kind of grew, the Collector kind of grew on me for certain champions like Samira, where basically you do get AD and Armor Pen, and yes, if you went for the Bloodthirster here, you will get more AD, but you don't get the Armor Pen. Now, I have really noticed that Armor Pen in the early game is actually really good. So on a champion like Samira, where you can perhaps snowball in lane and snowball the game, getting early Armor Pen is actually really good. So I would say if you start the game 0 and 2 as Samira or whatnot, you don't want to go for Collector, you want to go for Bloodthirster or something else. But if you're actually getting kills in lane, then actually going for Collector is actually quite ideal because the Armor Pen actually helps you snowball. So where will the Bloodthirster then come in? Well, we'll get to that in a second. So after we get Collector, we get Shield Bow. Now, Shield Bow, in my opinion on Samira, is pretty much an essential item. Even more so than the Bloodthirster. Now, why? Because aside from the good stats you get, the shield that you get, which still scales off of crit, by the way, this is a text error. The shield that you get is actually really crucial to kind of save yourself when you're in the ult and then get more resets and then get more kills. Countless times, the shield bow from the shield from the shield bow has saved me and helped me get kills instead. So I really think shield bow is important. So now on Samira, I actually do think that Infinity Edge is a good item because all of your bullets in your ult can crit, and when they crit, you want them to do more damage. Even if it's not as good as the Ruined version, it is still pretty good. So you do want to get Infinity Edge, and of course, more reminder for Armor Pen and Grievous Wounds. Don't really need to explain that one. So now when you reach this point, when you have these 4 crit items, now you basically have a couple options. So first up, you can go for a standard last item option, which is the Maw Mortius, or something else like, let's say a Black Cleaver or something like that. And then when you get your Maw, let's say Maw as an example, then you can actually sell your Collector and get a Bloodthirster. Because when you get to late game, the lethality from Collector is no longer important. Bloodthirster is way more important, so you can go for something like this. Now another option is, when you reach 4 items, so after you complete Maw Reminder, you can actually go for Bloodthirster as a last item, which is going to put you to 125% crit, which obviously is not going to help. But then when you get enough gold, you sell Collector and you buy Maw instead. So something like this instead. So this is basically 2 of the options you have. You can either build into Bloodthirster and then sell for Maw, or you of course can build into Maw and then sell for Bloodthirster. So that's 2 ways you can go about it. So for the runes, of course, Conqueror, because when you fully stack up your passive for your ulti, you're going to just nice stack up Conqueror. So this is going to work out for you very nicely to give you the extra AD and Omnivamp. Brutal, because you still auto-tech a decent amount and pretty much is your best option here. Giant Slayer, of course, to counter all of the health builders, and Bloodline for the extra healing. And here we like to go for Sudden Impact for the early game lethality, which, as I said, the early game lethality is very important. This becomes a lot less important in the later parts of the game, but for the early game, this works wonders. And for the spells, you can go for Flash together with Exhaust, because you're pretty much always going to be in Exhaust range. Now, some people like to go for Barrier as well, because when you're in the ult, you can Barrier, so it's a bit like a mini shield bow. You can go for that as well, but I prefer Exhaust in general. But with that said, let's jump into talking about the gameplay. Alright, so now going into the gameplay itself, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Of course, I will be sure to address them. Now, you guys can already see this is a very short gameplay. This is one of those classic Samira gameplays that you encounter from time to time. I feel like Samira is quite a feast or famine champion, so generally a lot like a Draven, or to some lesser extent a Tristana. You're kind of either snowballing in the early game, or you're kind of just feeding. So here, we're against a Draven and an Ashe. Not a very easy matchup, especially because of the Ashe. Now, the Ashe is, of course, an Ashe support, has the support item, and we do have a Maokai. Now, the main problem with Ashe is that Maokai has no range, and I have a very short range. So Ashe, if she plays it properly, can just step up and auto-attack us, especially because she's the support. She doesn't actually have the CS, and she can literally focus purely on attacking us. Now, the only saving grace is both Draven and Ashe have lethal tempo instead of press the attack. So if Ashe had pressed the attack here, our lives would be so much more difficult, and it already is pretty difficult. Draven shouldn't really be too big of a problem unless he manages to get in range to attack us, which normally shouldn't be the case, because basically the way the lane works is they're going to push in the lane and we're just going to farm under tower because we literally cannot step up. You see, the moment we step up, we get harassed by Ashe. Now, Draven's making a big mistake here because he's hard shoving the wave, which actually allows us to farm all of these minions under tower. If he just, you know, kept the wave in the middle, while maintaining his access, it would be so much better for them. Now here, you can see that Maokai tries to go in. I'm focusing down the Ashe. I'm trying to all in the Ashe. Unfortunately, Maokai does end up dying, and Wukong is now coming in for the gang just a little bit too late. Does eventually manage to finish off the Ashe. Of course, I can't step up because Draven will kill me if I do so, but I do get the assist, and so does Maokai, although Maokai did die for it. Overall, it's still an okay trade. So here, now we're stuck, kind of stuck in lane. Here you can see that a fight breaks out in the river, and both Morgana and Draven are chasing Wukong. I'm cautiously chasing into the river with them because Draven can turn on me at any moment, so I want to be really cautious. Morgana gets low, I actually go in, I get a reset, I pop my Blade Whirl to absorb the access, I get a double kill dashing on top, and Wukong gets another kill as well. Now here, unfortunately, the Ashe has come back into the picture, but all her teammates die. So here I randomly pick up a triple kill in the river, and this is really the main turning point of the game for me. Because obviously, random triple kill acquired in the river as well as, you know, 2 more assists. I randomly have a 700 gold lead over Draven and like over 1000 gold lead over Ashe. And at this point, I get the boots, I get the Dirk, obviously because I'm going to build into Collector. As I said, if you start getting early game kills, you definitely want to build Collector for the snowballing potential, and that extra 8 lethality from the Dirk is, of course, pretty much a majority of the lethality you're going to get from Collector anyway. So here, Draven is once again pushing. Now here I'm level 5 and Draven's level 4. So here Draven is pretty much dead. Now he makes a mistake by actually trying to go in on us, and obviously, you know, he's gonna die. He gets me the reset on my E. Ashe is now here as well. I get my ulti, and I'm able to kill her as well. And this is where the snowball really starts to pick up steam, because Draven doesn't realize that he can't step up anymore because I'm level 5 and he's level 4, and Ashe is not even with him. So Maokai just gets an easy engage. I go for the very easy follow-up, run Draven down. Ashe shows up to the party just in time for me to get my ult and then kill her. And yeah, this is pretty much what's going to happen on repeat if Draven and Ashe disrespect what we can do now. So the matchup has changed dramatically from us getting bullied by Ashe to now if they step up to us, they are going to be in trouble and they are probably going to die. As long as Maokai can get in range to engage. So now we want to start playing super duper aggressively. Of course, taking care to not you know, play too aggressive if Morgana is in the area or we don't know where Morgana is. Now here, the long range out from Maokai comes in. By the time they realize it's a little bit too late, Engage goes in by the Maokai onto the Draven. I'm going in onto them. I get stunned up by Ashe and actually becomes pretty close, but I do get the ult off, and eventually Ashe does get the kill on me for the shutdown, but Maokai is able to finish it off. Now, you can see here that technically we did play according to the game plan. The only real issue here is that, of course, we ate an Ashe ult, which was not very ideal because we do get CC there and we couldn't really do anything there for a second, which obviously in the end got us killed. But overall, you know, we are able to pick up the Collector and, you know, it is all fine and dandy for the most part. So here Maokai and Wukong are venturing into the enemy jungle where they, of course, are met with a little bit of resistance. But nothing too much really happens there, so I'm going to head back to the lane and try to clear the wave before the objective spawn. I get the Dematerializer, which is going to be pretty helpful there to help me get rid of that cannon minion. And Maokai engages in again onto the Draven. I'm going in. They're under tower, but it really doesn't matter. We're going to easily kill them. Anyway, I do tank a tower shot, get slowed by Swain. So here I'm going to conservatively flash because if I get caught there by the Swain, I will be in a little bit of trouble. Now, the heal from the Hextech toolkit comes right on in, right at that point, which is pretty helpful for me if I really did get caught, you know, by the Swain there. But of course, we don't want to take any chances. No reason to not flash there. You know, we want to value our life and get out of harm's way. Now we're gonna pick up all of the plates, except for the last one and the tower itself, of course. And then we're gonna rotate to the dragon to help out the Wukong. Now, the enemy team is busy doing the mimics. While we're doing the dragon, very early smite comes out from the Wukong and I finish off the dragon, obviously because he wanted to rotate faster. Draven is now mid lane for some reason and I'm pinging the mimics because we want to see if we can get there in time to contest the mimics. Unfortunately, Morgana does pick it up. However, Maokai comes in with the long range ult. Not sure if Morgana has the black shield, but Morgana gets caught, doesn't actually shield herself. I actually get rooted right as Maokai goes untargetable, but eventually we are able to finish her off, and then we want to dash on top of this Mordekaiser and pick up the kill on him as well. Now, in the meanwhile, we're gonna just start destroying this tower because it still has all of the plates, and we're pretty much gonna pick up all of the plates from this tower as well. Now, some very interesting occurrence is that Ashe has decided to give up on going support. She sold her support item and she's now taking all of the plates on the bot lane tower. So Ashe is kind of becoming a secondary ADC, and she does in fact have 500 gold more than the Draven, of course, because she's getting a bunch of plates right now, and also because she got the shutdown from me. You know, back when we were like, I think 5-0 or something like that, she did get the kill onto me there. So she is actually the most fed member of her team at the moment. So she decides to pivot from support to ADC and decides to go for an ADC build. Now that is honestly fine, I think, because she does have a really solid front line with the Swain as well as the Mordekaiser, and she does have Morgana who has some supportive capabilities. So I think actually Ashe pivoting to go for damage at this point is not really troll. I actually think that's fine. So here, she has a Terminus first item. She does have the same KDA as Draven though, but of course she does have 1,000 gold more than the Draven, who's completely out of the game. I have my shield bow completed already. I'm going to join my team in mid, where it's obvious a fight looks like it's about to break out. Now Maokai goes in with the engage, with the ulti. I unfortunately get rooted by Swain, and I get delayed a little bit, so I'm not really able to follow up the Maokai engage. Maokai is now in very deep into between like two towers. Enemies are already low. I try to flash in for the follow-up, but I flash straight into a Morgana route now. I'm pretty pissed off, so I'm just going to go onto the Morgana and kill her. I'm already at A rank, but of course there's no enemy left around for me to really get my ulti off of. So here, instead we're just going to get, you know, the consolation prize, which is going to be the mid lane tier 1, and now we're going to go for the mid lane tier 2. And we're going to grab that as well. And yeah, so now we're just going to hit back to base. Of course, with you know, decent amount of gold to spend, we can at least get ourselves the QSS to ensure that these Morgana and Swain routes will no longer be a problem. Of course, QSS is a very important item on Samira, especially when you're playing into a team with CC. Like we have Ashe ult, Morgana route, Swain route, you know, things like that. So we definitely want to grab that QSS to help us cleanse out of those spells. So here, the bot lane tower has been low all this time, of course, ever since we got all the plates from it, but it has never been taken down. So I'm just going to quickly do a quick rotation here, grab this tower, and you know, hit back. Now I don't really know where all the enemies are. We can see 4 of them on the opposite side of the map, so we should be relatively safe, but we didn't know at the time when we were pushing the tower, so we don't want to make any kind of mistake like that. So here we're going to start off the red buff, let Wukong finish it off, but he doesn't yet have the buff share, so we don't get a red buff, which is pretty unfortunate. Because apparently he hasn't been farming his red buff, and the red buff never respawned with the buff share version. So here, I get spotted by the little ghost thing, but I'm still going to hide in this bush anyway, because we can bait them in. Mordekaiser actually proto belts all the way in. Now I'm going in on them, getting my ulti, going on top of the Swain and ulting him. Draven is running for the hills. I'm trying to chase him down. I get slowed a little bit by his spell. Here the enemy team surrenders, so we're going to go just onto Morgana just for an additional kill, and we do pick up the win right there. So, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.